times have just changed so much. I think when you're growing up, you kind of assume that you're made for greatness, or you pursue greatness, wanting to achieve something and be someone your parents can be proud of and the people around you can be proud of, or something that sells a nice narrative. But people often forget that there are many ways to live life, including me. This is mostly because yesterday I mentioned that I watched this video about like a yatai vendor, right? Which is like a street stall vendor in Japan, where they carry like basically mobile stalls, and they put them up as a little street side izakaya that can seat maybe up to 12 people. And I thought about it. Why do they do this? Why don't they just open a restaurant or open their own izakaya with their own permanent spot? It saves the hassle. It probably saves the sanity and everything like that. And as I thought about it, I figured that it's probably because what they're doing right now with that yatai stall or that vendor stall, it's the core experiences you get from it is worth it. Even though you might not get the most profits out of it, but the combination of getting enough money from it and the experiences that you can get from doing that, rather than say opening up a permanent shop, it's what makes it worthwhile. So it's not always just about profit. It's more so like, it really depends on what you're seeking in life. If what you seek is like great conversations, good times, and novel experiences, rather than maximum profitability and being rich in life, there are many ways to go about it. In our current day and age and in life, the story that sells are like the most successful people who make a lot of money, and thus that becomes the mainstream narrative that you gotta be successful and rich and shit. While striving for greatness does sell a nice narrative, it's sometimes more than that. Sometimes it's about being true to yourself in your pursuits, but common life should never be looked down upon. Exactly. It's a whole hustle culture bullshit, right? From like whenever you were young, or like decades ago, it's always been that you got to be successful, ambitious, you got to be like achieving great things and everything like that. If you can, you should always strive for greatness first. And sometimes along the way, you never really get taught or hear the perspective that, hey, you don't have to be great. Sometimes making the most out of your life does not mean having to be great or having to have a certain achievement. I think a lot of people miss out on that just because of how rampant and mainstream and how strong the narrative is with like, okay, you have to be successful, you have to be rich, you have to be ambitious, is in our day-to-day life. There's not much light shown on these more ordinary sort of lives, you know, the more ordinary content sort of living.